it's never easy when it ends, especially if you have a great team or if you had a great season. And I think it's always important, especially as the leader of our team and program, that we define our own success. And I think if you're a team that is 32-5, you win both the Pac-12 regular season and also the Pac-12 tournament, and our journey ends in the Sweet 16. It's hard to look at that as not getting it done or a failure. But our goal and aspiration is always to challenge for a Final Four and get there, and we pulled up short. I cannot say enough good things about Xavier. It's not because I used to be there. I think their coach is awesome. He had his way with us tonight. He called plays after timeouts, underneath out of bounds. He got his players some great shots. I knew going into the game it was going to be a challenge, and there were a number of breakdowns that we had. Some of it is, this is our plan, we have to execute it. And then there's some other things that, Chris is a great coach, and they have some clever older players in Blewett and McCura, and they all know their role on that team, and they executed. We could not guard them. If you just go through the numbers, it wasn't the total points. It was the field goal percentage, the three-point percentage, and the thing that kept us in the game is our rebounding. Usually when we have a 35-27 rebound margin, we win. And in very few times, if we're up 8 points with, I think, under 4 minutes, do we lose. But we did. When they had the opportunity to take a shot or make one, they made them. And we had a couple that didn't go in. Equally disappointed in myself. Our team never really ever established great confidence against the zone. And I think in some ways that was the reason defensively that we weren't as good as we usually are, or maybe better than we needed to be, because the game never really felt good. And that's on me. Your job when you get to this area, when you get to this level of college basketball, your best players got to be confident. We have to get them shots. I don't care what defense they're playing, 1-3-1, 2-3, man-to-man. And I didn't feel like we did that tonight. And that's probably the worst feeling you can have as a coach. This guy to my left, I'll only talk about him because he's leaving. There has never been anybody, and we had some great players, great kids at Xavier in Arizona, that means more to me, that embodies the good in college basketball than Kadeem Allen. And that's always the hardest part when you know that his time is up. And Parker also did an outstanding job. And it's tough to look at our guys in disappointment because we've had so many great moments. And that's what makes the tournament so special. And that's also what's the hardest part about dealing with it, unless you get all the way to the promised land. And in my mind, it's going to be a great game between Gonzaga and Xavier. And I wish Xavier nothing but a great journey. I hope they go all the way. First of all, you got to remember our defense. We had an 8-point lead under the 4-minute mark. They needed to make shots. And I thought that they hit 2 threes in a row, and you have to make the shot you take, that really were barely challenged. When you're under the 4-minute mark and you have teams fighting to stay alive, you have to jump, you have to run at them, you have to close out with great effort. You have to make them miss. You have to understand that even a 2 is better than a 3. And we didn't do that, and they made the shots. And then, when you foul on an offensive rebound really late in the game at 15 feet, we gave them 2 more points that they didn't even have to work for. But from an offensive perspective, we had both going the wrong way. And, did we get great shots? We have a couple we could have made. Maybe we could have made a couple, but it's to my point. We weren't able to get great looks down the stretch or a wide open one. And that's not these guys. That's on me. We have to be more comfortable this late in the season against that type of defense. And we really just never quite established a rhythm that I think we needed to continue to play.
Hats off to Xavier. They're a good team. One time in their conference, they lost 6 in a row, and the coach did a good job to regroup them and get them back playing the basketball that they play. And tonight they played a good game. Like Coach said, they made big shots, and we really didn't have an answer, and we couldn't get a stop. But I'm proud of my team. When you win 32 games and only 5 losses, it says a lot about the program and the coaching staff, and I'm just proud of these guys.
I think, again, back to Trayvon Blewett and McCura, 2 great competitors. In a game like tonight, sometimes those players can really rise to great heights. And, Blewett had 25. And in the first half, we had no answer. One thing that really hurt us in this game is Kadeem picked up 2 fouls early on. And he means so much to our defense that we really almost played the entire first half without him. And although we were up 2, not having him out there hurt our team. And then in the second half, I thought Malcolm Bernard was great for Xavier. He went 3 for 3 from the three-point line. And his threes were big threes.
It speaks for itself. And my coaches, teammates, everyone in the program, they just give me the confidence that I've had towards the end of the season. And, I just took it, and I was just out there playing basketball. And I appreciated everything that he's done for me and the coaching staff and my teammates. And I love these guys.